Hi, guys. Welcome to the One More Take podcast, a podcast where Nick and I recommend each other movies and then we get together and talk about them. We thought this would be a fun way to look at movies a little bit more critically and learn something along the way. So, hopefully, you guys enjoy it. Just a quick disclaimer there is potential for spoilers in these episodes. I will include the titles of the movies we're going to talk about in each episode, and that way you can decide from there if you want to go ahead and watch it or not, if you haven't watched those movies. Let's just be honest, as much as I will try, Nick will probably just bring up the climax or the big twist in every movie, and it's probably going to be something that's interesting to talk about, so I won't want to cut it. But we'll do our best. So just be forewarned. And with that, let's start the show.
All right. I think we're fine. All right. Don't touch anything. We're recording.
Whew. Well, how are you doing first, Nick?
I'm doing okay. I shaved my head.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Go for the fresh bald cut. I don't know. I was just bored, to be honest, and I hate it.
So first, just to get some background, Nick and I both gave each other two movies to watch, recommendations from each other. The only restriction this time was it just had to be a movie we hadn't seen. And then Nick gave me two movies from the same director, Jodorowsky, El Topo, and Holy Mountain. And then I gave Nick the Darjeeling Limited by Wes Anderson, and then Raising Arizona by the Coen Brothers. So yeah, happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
But anyway, in honor of your birthday, you can start.
I'll go first. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see which one. I guess we'll start with the one I liked the least.
Okay.
It was Raising Arizona.
Okay.
It wasn't a bad movie, and I liked it. It's just not my favorite Coen movie.
What's your favorite Coen movie?
And that's a good question. I don't know. There's a lot of good ones. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Yeah, that's a good one. My favorite though. That's hard.
Okay, well, we don't have to put you on the spot for that right now.
Anyways, Raising Arizona.
Okay, does just one question to start though, since you led off this way, does it make you feel one way or another knowing that it's like their first Coen brother film, or is it still like slide into still you don't really like it that much?
Oh, that was their first?
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah. At least as brothers, maybe one of them had done a movie separately that chronologically came out first, but I think it's technically the first Coen Brothers film.
Well, see, that was like the one question I asked my brother, and he said no, but I don't know if he knew. But anyways, yeah, that was like, it does give leeway. So it's like, oh, it's their first movie or one of their first movies, you know. And it's not a bad movie. It's just not my favorite. And the reason why is just some scenes are kind of weird. Like the baby scene, when they first introduced the babies, that felt really weird. And maybe that's just because working with babies is hard. I don't know. Just that whole scene felt kind of weird. I know it's supposed to be funny, but it just seemed like he was in the room too long. And I didn't understand exactly what he was doing. Like, I guess he was just the babies were crying and he was just trying to calm them all down. Like, in my head, it's like children and animals are the hardest to work with, and especially toddlers, you know? So I think it was just kind of awkward to film the kids, and that's my interpretation. Just kind of awkward to film. But I mean, I like Nick Cage. I thought it was funny. It was a funny movie. I don't know. I like the line where they're at the Arizona's painting place, or unpainted Arizona's place, and the secretary asks him, like, "There's a man here to see you. Do you want me to get the guards?" He's like, "No, don't wake the guards." Like, there's no need. Like, there's no need to wake them up. Like, I don't know. That's just funny. Because It's like, why are they guards if they're sleeping? Little funny joke. And John Goodman too he was good. I just it was a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Did you since you're a big Green Eggs and Ham fan, did you like the reference to it? But you know how the goat goes by and drives on the motorcycle and like makes that like bush burst into flames and the other thing explode?
Yeah.
Did you like that scene with the guy on the motorcycle like shooting lizards from like far distance? I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I liked that. Yeah, I thought that was funny. That's probably is a direct reference, the Green Eggs and Ham.
I think it is. I can't say for sure, but when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, that's the Raising Arizona like bad guy intro. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's a good catch. Well, it's kind of interesting how like Barton Fink and Raising Arizona have a surreal quality to it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still grounded in like, you know what I mean, in its grounded universe. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I like that guy. He was kind of weird though.
Yeah.
Like I didn't understand what exactly was. There was a line where Nick Cage, it's at near the very end where he's like wrestling him right before he pulls the pins. He like you see a tattoo and it looks like Nick Cage's tattoo. What is that like supposed to symbolize? Because I think my mom said, is that his dad?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was kind of weird. So anyway, well, not anyway, but to back up real quick, I guess the Coen Brothers said they wanted to try and make like the movie like cartoonish or like as cartoonish as they could be, you know, which is why Nick Cage had like the Woody Woodpecker. Is that the Woody Woodpecker tattoo or something? I think that was kind of like the call because I was like, again, I'm mixing up something, but I think like what they said was that was the reason they made the put the tattoo on him, but then it was a mistake on their part because I think they were trying to reference Wile E. Coyote instead. But they said Woody Woodpecker. There was like something like that. So but basically, in essence, they were like trying to get Nick Cage, who does it pretty good, to be like this weird, like this just ridiculous, cartoonish, bemoaning, hyper animated character, and that was kind of the goal. I don't think it's his dad.
No, I don't think so either.
But I think he's just kind of like almost like a mythological just reference to things to come, almost kind of like, again, another Coen Brothers movie, but it kind of makes me think of just Javier Bardem's character, No Country for Old Men, how he just kind of symbolizes like the change in the times, and also like he's like violence is coming to that town, like both metaphorically and physically, because Javier Bardem, blows into town and people just keep dying, and then same thing with the other guy rides into town, and it's less death, but it's more like mayhem and like chaos, because then John Goodman and his cellmate bust out of jail, and then that gets things all out of whack and everything. So I think that's kind of what it symbolizes to me, like how Javier Bardem is like death incarnate in No Country for Old Men, and that guy, I don't know if he has a name, but he's more like just like chaos incarnate.
Yeah, well, he's kind of, Nick Cage says it, he's like the bad omen kind of thing. Like he has the dreams. He's like a farseer almost. He can see the future. But yeah,
but you didn't think it was funny though?
Oh, I did. I thought it was funny. I just think,
but you just,
it's like a weird, I don't know, like I enjoyed it. I think it was the weaker of the two movies that I saw. And like, like the fight scene in the trailer park, that was funny. Like him scraping his hands, and then like they can't throw punches because it's so claustrophobic.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
I really.
What's that?
I really like the scene when the coworker comes to dinner with his wife.
Oh, and see, okay, that's another thing too. If that doesn't make sense, the scene, like, so the coworkers go to their house and then they like go on a picnic somewhere? Is that what happens?
Well, I think they just walk, like, because they live on that plot of land. They just walk out they go like for a stroll around their property, I think.
But then they leave because the next scene is them in the car driving home. And see, that's like felt a little like, I don't know, something got lost in translation there, because yeah, they show up because they kicked the brothers out because they're like, hey, we're having guests tomorrow. And then they're over there. We see them at the door, and then they're outside, and they're supposedly having a picnic. But then after he hits the cactus, they're driving away somewhere. Yeah, that seemed like that was like, I think it was just that felt sloppy to me. It just kind of sucks that I know the Coen Brothers' other movies, and they've refined their artistic vision and their style. So I guess when I watch an older movie of theirs, I'm comparing it to their newer ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that has an effect too. So that's why I said it's like not my favorite, because it's like, it doesn't feel like a Coen Brother movie. Actually, it does feel like a Coen Brother movie. It's just not.
It does.
It's just not like their refined style. Same thing with like Darjeeling Limit. Like, it's still a Wes Anderson movie. Feels Wes Anderson, but I'm so used to like Fantastic Mr. Fox, Grand Budapest Hotel. Like, he's perfected his style in those two movies specifically. And it's like when I see things that aren't like their earlier works, I think I'm unfairly comparing their work to their better stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree that it's a really awkward time for you to watch Raising Arizona. I mean, the same thing happened to me, though. Like, I had watched so many other Coen Brother films before I watched that one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's why I just wanted you to watch it, just because there's no good time now anymore. But it's better to watch it now than like 3 more movies come out or having never seen it, because I still think for me, like, it's not my favorite either, but I watched it and I still felt like, oh, this is like something different. I don't know, it's not the exact opposite of what you're saying, but I almost liked it for kind of its more kookiness and kind of more off the leash feeling. And I know that was just part of that was just the theme for the movie itself, and not necessarily like their lack of discipline or craft on it. But I don't know, I enjoyed that, and there was just some stuff that it just made me laugh really hard. And in a weird way, it was kind of nice to see Nick Cage in a role that I like Nick Cage in a movie. Because usually I just associate with him with movies I don't want to watch. Didn't you say, though, that, was it you? I think it was you, or someone told me that he's just been taking a bunch of roles because he owes a lot of money to people. Yeah,
I said that, right? He got into a lot of debt. I guess he bought a huge dinosaur bone set.
Oh, jeez.
He bought a giant dinosaur bone. Oh my God. He bought dinosaur bones.
Bones.
He bought bones, and he bought a castle.
You're making it sound like it's like one of those things you subscribe from like the 4th grade like book quest, like the little paleontology kit. It's not a kit or a set. It's just bones, maybe complete set of bones for one dinosaur. But
yes, he bought a life-size dinosaur, dead, and I guess he bought a bunch of houses, $1 million homes, and castles. So
Jesus.
He's just bad with his money, I guess. And so he had to do a lot of shitty roles because he just needed the money. But that was in the 2000s. That was like 2000, probably after National Treasure or something. I don't know. Because there's that point where it's kind of interesting, like
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, Ghost Rider.
Though that could have been viewed as a come up, though it didn't work out that way. But I don't think that wasn't necessarily like, oh, fine, I'll do Ghost Rider. You know what I mean?
No, I think that was probably an
actual attempt.
Yeah, I don't know. Nick Cage is interesting for me because he's one of those actors that I despised as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
and then I started liking him, and then I think I fell for the memes. And then I was like, oh, he sucks. And then now I've gone completely 180, and I think he's good in certain roles. Like, he's a good actor. It just depends who he's playing. Like, he could be he's just like a super cheeseball most of the time. But that's like, that fits. Like, his character is perfect in this movie, you know?
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally. So what, like, if you had to give it a rating out of 5, I wanted to see where you are on Raising Arizona. Because I get that it's not your favorite Coen, but that doesn't tell me that much. Because I don't expect it to be your favorite Coen Brothers film.
So my rating system is like, it's weird. I don't give numbers.
Yeah, why would it be normal?
I give, like, my rating system's like great, good, okay, and bad.
So
and awful.
So you're in kindergarten. You're a kindergarten teacher of movies. You have stickers and you just watch the movie, you get the DVD jacket and you rip off excellent and you stick it on there, then pat it on its back. And
so I guess it is out of a 5 because I just listed 5 things.
Okay, no, well, give it to me in your rating system. Is it a good? Is it a high 5? I
put okay. And I'm weird with movies because I'll watch a movie and I will not like the movie all the way through till the very end. And then all of a sudden it clicks and I love it. And then there's times where I'll enjoy a movie the entire way through and when it ends, but then I'll think about it and I'm like, did I actually really like, I enjoyed the movie, but is it a good movie? You know?
I mean, I don't think that's that crazy because I know how you're describing it now kind of seems a little bit ridiculous, but I think that's like actually kind of good, or at least like you're trying to be critical about it, because I feel the same way. Sometimes I'm like, we talked about this briefly, but yeah, there's some films that are just like, where is this going? What's the point? And then sometimes you just get to that third act or even just near the just end of the movie and then it wraps it up nicely or puts more of a perspective on it, and then you can like it for that. And then some things are just like fun to watch and in the moment because you don't know where it's going, but when it ends and you start looking at some of the pieces again, some don't fit or are a little bit weird, then you can like it in reflection or retrospect. I think that's not that bad.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And also I need time to digest, I guess. But yeah, like Raising Arizona, I would say it's a good movie. I would change it from okay to good, but like, I guess when it ended, I told myself like, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't, again, like I was just comparing it to the other Coen Brother movies, so I was just like, it's not as good as his other movies. They're other movies.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm glad I watched it. And it's now knowing that it's their first movie, I can give some leeway, like give them, oh, that makes sense, like why it didn't feel right to me or why the little goofs and stuff. But I mean, it's pretty well made.
Yeah, a lot of people have cited that like the diaper run breakout of the supermarket scene is like one of the huge like pivotal moments, I guess, for them for film of like wanting to make movies or realizing what like a movie can do, I guess. Which is partly why I watched the movie, because I kept hearing like, what is Raising Arizona? Everyone's like, oh, the drive scene in Raising Arizona. I'm like, what is Raising Arizona? And then I was like, oh shit, it's a Coen Brothers film, and I didn't know. And then I just watched it, not expecting to be super great, but I already like them and I was curious, and then I just enjoyed it more for its like wacky humor, which I don't even really like. I think that's like, I guess I'm just psychoanalyzing myself, but I think that's why I liked it so much, because I haven't like had anything in a long time where I've just like strapped in and like said, okay, this is what we're doing, and liked it for its wackiness, like,
Yeah.
Almost kind of like how people probably a lot of people felt about Dumb and Dumber, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I think that movie, I haven't watched it in a while, but I think it is like, because the Farrelly brothers are really solid. And that's who did it, I'm pretty sure. But I think a lot of people like love that movie and love the memory of the movie because it was just like you're just in the theater and then you're doing all the in-jokes with your friends and your family afterwards, and just that one time just like nonstop kind of like relentless stupidity and wackiness that's fun and enjoyable, and you give yourself the pass to like enjoy it, and then you love it more, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched it and I was like, oh, this is just off the wall, but I'm enjoying it, and some of the stuff like just made me laugh when I wasn't expecting for it to make me laugh too.
Yeah, the diaper. I like the diaper scene. Yeah, my dad was cracking up. He thought it was funny.
Really?
Yeah, like when the dog started chasing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thought he's having a good time.
Did you have any last thoughts about Raising Arizona?
I'll say Raising Arizona, good movie. But watch it first. Out of all the Coen movies. Yeah.
Now that like 10 other ones have come out.
Yeah. Okay, and then I'll do Darjeeling Limit too. Because I want you to finish off with your take on the movies I suggested, but
okay.
So Darjeeling Limit was
Limited.
Okay, Darjeeling Limited. There we go.
Doesn't matter.
That's a good movie. I liked it. This is the movie where I was saying I was watching it and I wasn't enjoying it, but I was just like, took me a while to get into it. And then near the end, I was like, oh, okay, I liked it. I think I liked it. I think my problem was I think they stayed on the train in the beginning a little too long. I wanted to, I guess, I felt, how do I explain this? Like, obviously, I'm not the director, so I need to sit back and just watch it, you know what I mean? And not hope for things to happen. But yeah, unfortunately, my thought was that they're just going to be stuck on the train the entire time without ever stepping off. And then I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to like that. But yeah, it just took me a while to get into the rhythm of the movie. And then, yeah, I liked it. I liked the Bill Murray bait and switch in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's just like, what is,
trying to catch the train, and then he's like not even really part of the movie.
Yeah. So I like that. I liked all the little jokes. Like, what's one? Just like, oh my God, Owen Wilson's character getting mad that he's using their dad's shit. Every time like he's shaving, he's like, is that dad's razor?
It's like, yeah.
And then I guess all their character arcs. The one, I guess, for me that didn't feel fully complete was Adrian Brody's character arc.
Yeah, okay.
You have Owen Wilson. I mean, they all accept, or they all grow a tighter bond, and they, lose their baggage with their dad, literally and figuratively.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they, meet their mom, and what? Oh my God, what was? Shit, what was? Oh my God, who is the guy with the long hair?
Jason Schwartzman.
Jason Schwartzman. Jason Schwartzman's character, is the only arc I could remember right now. But his whole thing is breaking up with his girlfriend, or getting over her.
Yeah,
and then obviously, Adrian Brody's character is with his wife.
He's kind of like running away from being a father.
Yes. And what's Owen Wilson's thing? He tried killing himself, and
yeah, he's just.
I think his was like, because they all don't trust each other. You know what I mean? They like. Yeah. I like that joke too. Like, I just like all the little repeating jokes, because like, oh, he tells his brother like, I have a ticket, I'm gonna leave, but don't tell Owen Wilson. And then his other's like, oh, I'm having a baby, but don't tell, the brother. And then, they obviously tell him, and he's like, why, you guys don't trust me? And then at the end, we find out that he wasn't telling his brothers the truth about his accident, because that was intentional, right? He said he drove his motorcycle into a mountain on purpose, right?
Yeah. yeah.
At least that's what it was. He either explicitly said that, or it's implied that he drove it into the mountain on purpose. But
yeah, yeah.
And then, yeah, I liked the I guess again, starting off, I'm comparing more to Wes Anderson's style, and I didn't really get to see that style until later on in the movie.
I think it's there.
No, it is there. It is there. It's just not. It's just not the way. Like, I just keep thinking of the Grand Budapest Hotel. How that's very ornate.
I don't know.
I guess.
I feel like that. I don't know. I feel like it's tough. I don't think it's correct to continue. And I'm not saying I do it too. But I don't think it's correct to continuously keep coming back to Grand Budapest Hotel as the fixture for Wes Anderson, because he did a lot more before that. Was a lot more kind of juvenile and goofy, and then he's doing more other things. I think it is kind of like the critical. Everything kind of comes together nicely in that quintessential Wes Anderson, which is why we all watched it together and really enjoyed it too. So that's kind of crystallized more in our memory than other films. But I caught myself doing that a couple times too. I'm gonna lead off and say that's Darjeeling Limited is my favorite Wes Anderson movie, though.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I shouldn't say that.
But it's happening.
It happens. It sucks because it's I should just accept the movie for what it is and not try to compare it to his other movies that I like. You know what I mean? But that's why it's just a weird feeling because there is a lot of Wes Anderson. I mean, obviously, but it a lot of his trademarks are in the movie. It's just I just kept comparing it to Grand Budapest and oh my god, Fantastic Mr. Fox. And I shouldn't be doing that, but yeah, I mean, I liked when they were filming in the cable cars, what was the scene? I don't remember. I just remember they're the camera was just, what was it? I can't remember, but I liked that one scene where they showed everybody in their cable car with quotes. But it's, they're not really in the cable car. It's just, you have, the girlfriend.
Oh, you mean the... Oh, okay.
It's at the end of the movie,
Yeah, their own little, court cabinets within the train, you mean?
Yeah. And you have, the assistant on the plane. You have Bill Murray's character.
Mm-hmm.
Natalie Portman. The pregnant wife. Wait, Natalie Portman? She was in that movie?
Well, she's Jason Schwartzman's ex.
Oh,
that's why they show her at the end. It doesn't make any sense.
See, I knew that was his ex because of the perfume bottle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that it was Natalie Portman because you hadn't really seen her up until then.
Yeah.
But there is there's a separate short. That's just Jason Schwartzman and Natalie Portman, and it's their characters before he left Paris.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I watched it. There's not much happens though, but it's just kind of to serve as a prologue to that, and then that's why she's in the film at the end. Yeah,
that was a cool scene, and then again, I liked Jason Schwartzman's character, his writing, how he kept showing his brothers.
Oh yeah,
and they kept saying
is it autobiographical? No.
Oh, it's fiction.
It's a story.
But then at the end, he admits it's right. Okay. I mean, he doesn't admit it, but he cuts himself off. But yeah, going back to Adrian Brody, I felt his character didn't meet the whole Because I still feel like he's still, like, maybe he's accepted, like, I love my wife. He's just scared, of commitment, I guess. Because he says, yeah, I love my wife. I just don't see us, staying together. I thought we were going to get divorced. He obviously, calls her, which it seemed like they were fighting. But then it's just like, he's going to have a kid in 6 weeks if, it goes to full term. But,
Yeah.
They're spending a month in India.
Yeah.
So for me,
yeah,
I was getting kind of like, yeah, he's hanging out with his brothers. He, he's growing a bond, but he also still is kind of putting his
Being
real
an
responsibilities
absent
to the
father.
sideline.
Well, that's what the whole trip is, though. And I like going back to what you said at the beginning. It was hard to get into the movie. That's true, because like he just puts each character's kind of idiosyncrasies and everything that's going on with him like right away, and you don't understand it until you learn more about the characters.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how Owen Wilson, like on the surface it seems like he wants it to just be a weekend, or not a weekend, but like a big trip to get closer to his brothers, and I miss you guys, but in reality he still kind of is doing it selfishly and wants to control everything. And
Yeah, which we find out is because of their mother.
Right, and he has the ulterior motive. It's not like, oh, I just want us to take this global trip and become closer by being farther away from our real lives and our problems. It's really like, I wasn't telling you this whole time, but we're going to see mom, and they don't want to see their mom, and which is why he knew, which is why he lied to them, even though he's always like, let's make an agreement, or like, let's not lie, let's be honest with each other, and the whole time he's not.
Yeah. But I was saying he's controlling because his mom, because like when his mom. When the mom's introduced, she's like...
Oh, she does the same thing as Francis
Same
does.
thing, yeah.
You'll have... I forget Jason Schwartzman's name for a second, but he's like, you'll have the fruit. And Francis, you like yogurt or whatever. And she just says what they're all going to have, and then... Is
Jason's character Jack?
Yeah, Jack. Yeah, it's Jack, Francis, and... It's another... Peter. Yeah, and then... Someone pointed out that Peter wears his dad's prescription glasses, even though it like contorts his vision.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, that was a good call. That was really kind of...
That was what's causing his headaches too, right?
Right, yeah. That's the funny part. He's like... Yeah, that's the funny part, is that he's forcing himself to wear these glasses because... they're his dad's, but at the same time it's giving headaches, and it's like distorting his vision, which is very, like metaphorical or symbolic, because his whole kind of like priority list and everything is kind of just kind of not focused on the right things, especially as a baby, like you're saying. And his character is really frustrating, and I think he's supposed to be frustrating because I think like you said, like Francis is kind of more in tune with his mom, and then we don't know the dad, and we get that one flashback of when he dies, but we kind of get the feeling that Peter was more... He's the oldest too, right? Isn't Peter the oldest?
I thought Francis was. That's why he was like taking... Because he says like, I raised you guys right. Doesn't he say something like that?
But he says that, but I thought there was like this little thing where Peter was like, I'm older than you. Like Francis just has this feeling of... Because they're all supposed to, aside from Jack, but I think Peter and Francis are close in age. And I think that's what's annoying for Peter, because he's actually older, but Francis is always trying to control them and like be the big brother to the real big brother. But I'm not 100% on that. But either way, I think Peter is more, was more in tune with his father, which is why the death is kind of is hitting him harder, and he's hoarding all the stuff. And then also I think that's why he's like really struggling coming to terms with being a father himself. But yeah, everyone's hiding away for their own reasons, right? And like you said, they literally and metaphorically shed their baggage at the end, but they all definitely come onto the train with a ton of baggage.
Oh, Francis is the oldest.
He is the oldest?
Yeah. I think he just had a closer bond with his dad. I think you're right. Like Francis takes after his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I think Peter was just closer to, because he says that, I was dad's favorite. Not because dad said that, but because Peter probably feels like, he was closer to his dad than the other two.
Francis might not even like be really like his mom, but he definitely tried to emulate his mom when they were together. And, by keeping the structure, telling them what they're going to eat and all that stuff. Because I think he thought he was like giving them structure and like being helpful that way. Because like now we lost our dad. Our mom's like estranged in the mountains, being like a freaking monk. So that's why he's like, I'm gonna bring us together. I feel like I raised us. I'm gonna be like mom.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's right for you guys. Until we go and find our real mom. Did you like the shots in it with all the kind of like the cutouts in the windows and stuff inside the corridors?
Yeah, I liked a lot of the shots.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that the ones I didn't like were, I think, just when there was like busy streets in India. Because again, it to me that felt not as Wes Anderson, which again I shouldn't be comparing. But
I don't even think you can knock him on that, cause I'm pretty sure he was actually filming in India, and you're not going to get symmetrical, clean, busy streets in India. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's just like that was like earlier in the film too.
What do you think was the most Wes Anderson thing in the film?
Probably just the characters, the writing.
Adrian Brody was rocking short shorts like the whole movie. He was going hard.
Yeah.
Not that was a Wes Anderson thing, but I just thought it was funny. Did you like the slow-mo song walk out to the funeral?
I didn't like the slow-mo. But that's just me. I don't like I don't know. Just not a fan. I like when they're doing it when they're running.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like, in the beginning. I think when
there's like 4 slow-mos in that movie, or at least 3.
There's at least 3 because it's the
2 running and then 1 funeral for sure.
I think that one was, for me, it felt a little weird, but I don't know. I like when they're, running to catch to the train. I like that slow-mo. And I like the funeral scene because it transitions nicely from, the boy's funeral to the father's funeral, or the day of.
Uh-huh.
And I think actually that's when, which it's kind of funny, I didn't like the slow-mo, but right when what it was? I think it was the transition from, because they're on the bus, and then, the boys, point to them. They're like, oh, they want us to go to the funeral. And they kind of look, and they get off. And it cuts to that, which I guess is a fine cut, but I don't know. For some reason, I didn't like that. But then the transition from the slow motion of the boys' funeral to their dad's funeral, that's actually where I was like, oh, I think I like this, like, really like this movie now. That was, I think, the point. That
interesting.
Like I really started enjoying it.
Yeah, I think it's a solid movie. I don't know. I just like watching 2 to 3 kind of goofy people bonding or trying to bond, I think. And that's why I like that movie. I like the characters. I just like how, like you said, they just keep lying to each other, and they're really like, it's just brothers, they're like a bunch of half-truths and then like committals, non-committals, going back on their word, and also just trying to slide stuff. Everyone's trying to slide something past each other too, because like the biggest egregious one is Francis, obviously, but with Peter taking their dad's stuff and not telling the guys about it, also him just kind of not even really wanting to be there, but he's kind of feeling like he is forced to be there because he wants to be there less than he wants to be at home with his baby mama, you know, and that's bad. And he's sliding that past his wife, and then also kind of, you know, lying to his brothers about wanting to be there. And then Jack is just trying to get over a heartbreak, and then he secretly had the passport the whole time, was planning to go back like a week early or whatever, because he's kind of like the wild card independent one.
I like the snake scene. That was funny.
Yeah.
When they're beating each other up too. That was
I like that. I love you guys, but I'm gonna pepper spray you now.
So the Indian girl, well, the one thing I didn't, it's so small, but the Indian girl was using Jack as like a rebound or an excuse to break up with her boyfriend.
I think so. It's the opposite. Jack was using the Indian girl as a rebound, and then the Indian girl was kind of like already unhappy in her relationship, and that was kind of like the point at which she was like, okay, yeah, you know what, like I am over this guy. I think not because of they had sex, but like I think just the fact that they did the act of like, oh, I can like not hate myself for having sex with someone else, like proved it to her, solidified that she was ready to move on with her relationship. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because they're still together. She says, right? 'Cause she's like, I have a boyfriend.
She says that, but then she's like really cold to him, and like, you know what I mean? Doesn't want to be in the same. So I think it's still something that's like happening, right? Because like, again, going with this theme of people have trying to slide past other feelings under the surface. I think she's like already there mentally, but hasn't done it yet. And she's stuck on a train, and she's also working. That's what's awkward. Like she works for him on top of being, on top of, you know, being or in a relationship with him.
That was the conductor was the boyfriend or whatever. That the head.
Yeah. I don't know if he's a conductor, but yeah, he's like the one patrolling the
he's
the train,
not the conductor.
You know.
But
so, and that's the thing too. Like, you could be like, "Hey, I want to break up," but then you're still on the whatever 30-hour train ride or whatever until the next stop, and even still, you still work there unless you find another job. So it's, you know, same thing with like smoking too, right? She wasn't supposed to be smoking cigarettes, but she was sneaking that past him.
Yeah.
So, just little things.
I think you said this offhandedly, like before I saw the movie, but you said, do you think the them ditching their luggage? I mean, it's pretty on the nose, but
do I think what?
I don't even know what I was gonna say. I was literally just gonna say, do you think it's too on the nose? But I just answered the question. You know, when they're leaving the baggage behind.
Yeah. Well, so I am co-chairman of On the Nose department, but I'm totally fine with that because they introduced it at the beginning, and aside from an obvious like symbolic piece, it's just funny. It's a great prop. Like they're lugging around their dad's, like it has their dad's initials on it, and it's like ornate, and it's ridiculous. Like every cut is just like 8 Indian handymen helping them carry their luggage, and it just also just shows, you know, for better or for worse, Wes Anderson definitely portrays upper middle class white people and upper middle class white people families, and so like that's just another way you hammer that character and that family home. You know what I mean? You have the fucking like who has their initials engraved into their luggage, and who brings like 12 plus luggage on a trip when you're solely going to be on a train, you know, like, and we know if you're not on the train, you're going to have to be ferrying stuff around. So that just shows kind of their lack of thinking about it, and also a little bit self-indulgence. So I'm totally fine with it. And then, it makes a great shot when they're totally just stripping themselves of the luggage to catch the train, which is a great callback to how he opened the movie. So I don't have a problem with that one, even though it is pretty obvious.
Yeah, I don't have a problem either. I just think
because that's the whole point of the movie, you know, like it's the whole point of the movie is them to reconcile their sadness and their grief of their father's passing, and then also try to like reconcile their clearly frayed relationships between the brothers themselves, you know. Okay, you want to move on to my movies?
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm gonna say. Okay, so
well,
first of all, oh wait, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, just what was your initial reaction to watching The Holy Mountain?
So before, I just want to ask, like, why did you recommend these movies to me? I'm not even like, I don't mean it in any other way. I'm just curious. Like, I know you've been wanting me to watch them, and you had Joey and Scott watch it, but like, I just want to know what made you recommend these. Like, what's your thinking?
Well, it was Joey and Cody, but
Joey and Cody. Okay.
So I'll tell you why. I love these movies because of how the imagery is. Like, even
Holy Mountain more so than El Topo.
Well, yes. The Holy Mountain over El Topo. I just thought El Topo would be interesting because I was just, I don't know, thinking of two similar movies to watch.
Right, yeah.
The reason why I wanted you to watch these is just to, I guess, open your palette to more absurd, surreal movies. And I don't know, I those were like just the first two movies I thought of when I asked to do it. Like, what's weird is I didn't even like want you to watch those two movies when I suggested we suggest movies. But after you said yes, I was like thinking, well, what movies do I want to suggest? And I was just like, you know what? The Holy Mountain is just so absurd and so unique that I thought it'd be an interesting way to kick it off. Like, I don't know. I totally get like someone saying this, like, okay, my mom hates this movie. We watched it and she said there's literally no like value to this movie. And I was like, oh wow, that's harsh. She's like, this sucks, like, which is weird because I thought she'd enjoy it for some of the mysticism and like, but I think it's just too over the top for her and nonsensical. My opinions of this movie have changed with each viewing. I've watched it 4 times now because I watched it again.
Jeez.
Like, when you watched
4 times?
Yeah, when you watched it, I watched it too. Because I just wanted to be like refresh my memory of the movie.
Right.
And so the first time I watched it, I was like, I didn't know what to think. I was like, I don't know if I was like leaning too much on like the meme of it being like, oh, you got to watch The Holy Mountain, it's great. And every time I've watched it, I still enjoy it. And like my opinions, like I was thinking like of the messages the movie, portrays, and they're pretty on the nose, at least like the political stuff, and the religious stuff. But a lot of the mysticism stuff is like tarot cards, which I don't understand. Because Jodorowsky's huge into tarot cards. I guess he gave Kanye West a tarot reading. And like, I don't know if you knew this, but I guess when he was writing My Twisted Dark Fantasy, he had The Holy Mountain on repeat. From what I remember, I gotta fact check that, but I think
no, that's I didn't see the exact thing, but I did like brief research, and yeah, Kanye West was like one of the 5 musicians cited as like saying it was influential in their work. So you're right in that way. Okay. I don't know exactly in what regard, but you're right. It was Kanye West.
I know that they met and they talked, and he did a tarot reading. But yeah, I don't know. I could totally see. To be honest, after I suggested it, I was like, "Fuck, he's gonna hate these movies."
Well, I'm not even mad. I just wanted to get your like. I just wanted to. Yeah, I was just curious. What was like your hope or your intent of suggesting the movie?
A little bit is just, I think, trolling. Because it's such an absurd movie.
Well, thank you, Nick. I made sure I gave you 2 movies I liked. But I'm glad you.
No, but I love these movies. That's the thing.
No, I know.
That's the thing. Like, it's not something that's like, I hate these movies. I just want to like make you suffer. It's like,
no, I know.
I love these movies, and like, actually, El Topo. I think the first half's great. The second half's kind of weak. But
okay, so that's where I'm gonna start because I watched Holy Mountain first. I think you told me to watch Holy Mountain first. Yes. But regardless, I watched Holy Mountain first. I'm not gonna say I get it, but I get some of the
appeal,
the value that can be ascribed to that movie. What your mom said notwithstanding, but I was really, really bummed because I was hoping I was gonna like El Topo more. Not necessarily it was a better movie, but I thought I was gonna like it more. And yeah, honestly, I couldn't do it. Like after,
oh really?
I finished it, but like I was completely tuned out after he basically got old, like, which I think is the halfway part. After he comes off the bridge and gets shot, the whole movie it couldn't do it anymore. Like I just was like, what's the point? And I know that not necessarily those movies specifically have to have like a point, but it was just hard to sit through for me. Like started looking at my phone, like, and I really wanted to get through, but I was just like, ugh, especially after watching Holy Mountain. Yeah. There's a lot more visual quality, which I think is why you like Holy Mountain so much. But El Topo is just in the desert the whole time, and then they're just in like that like country house saloon area the whole time, and there's nothing like to look at when there's nothing going on, because quite honestly there's not a whole lot of nothing going on in that second half of that movie.
That's almost like I think that's like the general consensus. Oh, what's up, Dad?
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's
hi,
huge.
Yeah.
Oh, Harry says hi.
Hi, Harry. Hey, I'm going to get your pizza, birthday boy.
Okay.
Anything else going on?
Some condoms.
Condoms? I got
I'm just
condoms.
kidding.
I got a whole box. All flavors.
Oh, thanks.
Anyway, I'll be back.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, now let's go back to El Topo.
Yeah.
You were gonna say something?
Yeah, so I think I was gonna say the general consensus, at least I think Cody and Joey said the same thing.
Oh, you got Joey to watch El Topo too?
Yeah, we did like a double feature. Actually, no, we watched them 2 different days. I think. Yeah, but they both watched them.
What was Joey's take on it?
Joey liked them. Yeah, he said he liked the Holy Mountain, and Cody too. Cody liked it. But with El Topo, they said we didn't like it as much as the Holy Mountain because, like points you've already highlighted, it wasn't as pretty to look at. It was just mostly in the desert, and then the first half, the story's way better than the second half. Like I like the first half of El Topo. I like the downfall of his character, and then it's just like a switch. It just like it's just like he dies,
weird,
or he gets shot, and then the freaks or the whatever they're called, the mutants. Do they call them specific things?
I don't think so, but I had after watching both those movies, I was like, how we do like this is Wes Anderson style. I was like, if the Germ ever did a Jodorowsky, do a movie in the Jodorowsky style, you have to have disformed people, naked bodies, preferably young children, and a lot of animals. Like that was my number one question. I was like, how much was this budget? That was the first thing I looked up. Holy Mountain was $750,000, which is pretty surprising to me. But a lot of it was in Mexico, and I guess a lot of the animals he bought like used from zoos, I guess.
Yeah.
But I was just
really? It was only wow.
It was only $750,000, dude.
That's
and apparently, yeah, right? Didn't you think it was more?
I thought honestly it was like 10 million or at least $1 million.
I thought so too. And like again, this is 1973, so money's a little bit more in that way, kind of. But like he didn't even scratch $1 million yet for the things that he did. I thought that was impressive to me.
Yeah.
We can talk about Holy Mountain in a second, but that was crazy to me. But anyway, yeah, that's the Jodorowsky like triple threat is deformed people, naked bodies, preferably children, and then animals everywhere.
Yeah.
Animals everywhere. That was like driving me insane. I was like, how every shot, like literally, I feel like he sat down in his sketchbook and was like, okay, this scene, elephant. This scene, alligator. This scene.
Yeah,
birds
hippo.
Coming out of the sand. Yeah, baby hippo in the pond.
I loved the animals. I didn't like the animal abuse, but
well, yeah, that made me the toad explosion thing kind of got me mad, and
that
then, like, it took me a while to like reconcile with that. like, because that's early in the movie, and I was like, oh, am I just gonna watch like fucking idiot, I don't know, like animal abuse for the name of quote unquote art? And then luckily that toned down, but that got me kind of on edge and like upset for a while, to be honest.
Yeah.
So what did Joey say though? Because he said he kind of liked it, and like he doesn't have a patience and like and he doesn't like movies like, but those movies feel really long. So I want to know how like he felt about it.
No, I was genuinely surprised that he enjoyed them. Like, I don't know if he was in love with them, but he's like, yeah, I think he said they're really cool. Like, he loved at least the Holy Mountain. He said he loved the sets. He loved, not the story, but he liked like the absurdness of it. And that's me. Like, so the first time watching it, when I first turned it on, the first half, like up until he meets the alchemist, I was not in the movie. I was like, I don't like this, especially the toads, just like you, the toad blowing up. It was like, I don't like when animals suffer.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't like this. And then he meets the alchemist, and that the alchemist scene, it's so stupid to me. Like, I love the set, but just the way they move, to me, because Jodorowsky's
sword fight for like 2 seconds. Yeah, I hate
Jodorowsky's the alchemist. And
I know.
To me, I'm just like, this guy is such like he has a huge ego, and he knows that. But to me, he's just like, he's the alchemist. He's godlike character. He's like, oh, he's, probably in his mind, he's like, this looks so cool, like me doing these like slow moves. And like, I don't see that when I see that move. I just see like, it's very kind of sloppy. Even though he's going slow, it's still not like, doesn't, portray as like a master at fighting or whatever,
It was super goofy. It was just weird because I was like, okay, he climbed up the thing, which I was like really worried. I'm pretty sure he actually did that. The guy who climbed, went up the fish hook, and that thing is tall. Like, what I mean is, like, it wasn't like a model, because at one point they switched the camera with looking up, and you could kind of like cheat it if you do a little small model scale building, and he climbs out or whatever. But he actually like scaled it, and I was just like, the whole time I was actually getting sweaty because I was like, that is so high, dude, and you're not like he's sitting on like a saddle too, so basically if you lean one way or the other and just flop out of it, you're just dead. You know what I mean?
He's not hooked up at all. He just jumps on it.
No, yeah. And he's just pedaling with his feet up the wall. So I thought that was crazy. And I would hate to like have to come back down after doing that shot, because he has to go so slow too. Like, but anyway, because I thought the same as you just see the top half and you're like, oh, who that could be, like you said, tiny model, and then just like, it's almost like comedic the way it just keeps going. You're just like, oh shit. And you're like, oh, we're just actually gonna watch him scale this entire huge ass fucking building on a like fish hook.
Yeah, and I was just like, and that's also why I like it too, because it's funny, and I think Jodorowsky is intentionally like, I don't know, like the first of all, I'm just going to say I love all the planets except for Berg's planet.
Was like, he the architect?
No, the architect.
Berg was the economist. The guy.
He's the economist. He's the guy with the
wife with the like stars on her titties.
Yeah, I hate that scene. That is like, I think Joey and Cody said the same thing. They're like,
that one had nothing going for it. Like, I don't know.
It's just like, when you compare all the other scenes, that's the weakest in like set design and story wise. Like, all the other ones are telling, something interesting. Whereas it's just like, oh, we get to see these weird people in their house. And
then it's just a flip that he like is the head like money person for the president. Like, that was the whole thing.
Yeah. And then like you get the social commentary. It's like, well, you need to kill off 2 billion people or something.
Yeah.
Or 4 million people to save X amount of money. And then he calls on the phone. I mean, to be honest, I thought the Arnold Schwarzenegger buff bodyguards is fucking funny, but that skit, that little segment just, It's the worst part of the movie for me. First viewing, that first half up until The Alchemist was like my least favorite. And then you have that middle chunk, which I always loved. That's like, I think where like the first time viewing it, the light switch turned on and I was like, okay, I like this. I like all this. Obviously, you know, it's very on the nose commentary about like, you know, the military making toys for kids to indoctrinate them to become like, I like that scene where they're predicting that they're going to have a war, you know, in 10 years Peru. Against the Peruvians. So we got to brainwash the kids to hate Peruvians
growing up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like her workers are all old vets. I'm assuming they're all old people. So it's like a political commentary on the old making the young fight. You know, like not very deep or, you know, subtle, but I liked all the commentary he's making. And then you have the last third, which to me I like, but I think it's the weakest out of the three parts of the movie. Mm-hmm. But what did you think?
Okay, so Holy Mountain now?
Yeah, Holy Mountain.
Yeah, I'll just wrap up El Topo. Just El Topo for me, like I said, it just wasn't nice to look at. I don't know. I didn't even like the Masters thing either because it just felt, I don't know, like he didn't like dress it up. That's the wrong word because he dresses everybody up in a little like, you know, like showroom costume, but he just didn't dress up the Masters in any way. I felt like, you know, it was just weird that they just looked like whatever and they didn't have like a special like realm or like ability or something. And that just, I thought he was going to at least do that, like give them little cliche little like domains or powers or something, but he would just like walk up to them in random spots in the desert and be like, hey, you want to fight? and then cheat and then kill them and then
yeah, he cheated on all of them, didn't he?
Yeah,
that one. I've only seen that movie twice.
It's not good.
Yeah, to be honest,
but that one was his first.
Yeah, like
interestingly, did you know that John Lennon apparently loved El Topo and gave Jodorowsky $100,000 to make his next movie?
Yeah, I heard about that. Basically, so I have to do some more research, but apparently when Jodorowsky was making the movie, he says, I'm going to go to New York and pitch my movie, try to get it, you know, distributed in America or something.
Yeah.
And people were saying, like, no, you can't do that. The Americans hate, like, Mexican-produced movies. There's only, like, one guy who did that, but you're not him. And so, allegedly, or I guess he said, like, okay, well, I'll just win them over by being so absurd and just go for the shock value. So he was, like, saying how he, like, one of the actresses, during interviews, he's like, yeah, you know the scene with the other girl?
Yeah, I read it. I read about this. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So apparently he told the reporter that, like, I raped her. Like, I told her that I'm just, you know, once the cameras start rolling, or I guess the buildup was he's like, hit me. And he had her hit him, like basically beat him up. And he said so hard, like he thought he broke a rib. And then when she got tired, he said, okay, now it's my turn. And then he said, roll the cameras. And then he went after and raped her. And then, like, I heard that actually in the Jodorowsky's Dune documentary, he told a similar story. And when I saw El Topo, and I saw that scene, I was like, what? He doesn't even do anything. Like, he just rips her shirt off. And so people were saying, like, he's a misogynist and a rapist. And I guess he said that he told people, like, oh, yeah, I was just telling reporters that because no one was going to watch my movie. So I had to make up this character like I was crazy. Like, that he had to, you know, show that I was gonzo and that I killed all these animals and I raped the actress and I was brutal on set and stuff. Because I guess there's a panic movement at the time. I guess an art movement called Panic. And I guess he was a part of that. And it's like just about shock value, I suppose.
Yeah, he was in some. I think it was called Panic, but he was in like some like communist art group.
It was a group. Oh, but
Yeah. Well, yeah, I actually read that too, and then because I watched Holy Mountain, and then I was like, how much was this money did he have to make this movie? And then that's why I kind of went down the rabbit hole and found what you're referencing. And then so I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna watch something like kind of wild when it gets to that part, and then I felt the same way. Like, obviously, what he said was bad. But when you actually watch the movie, and again, that's probably part of it, is that nobody watched the movie. But yeah, I watched it. I was like, oh, but he only takes her top off, and then it cuts away. And I mean, it's still dumb that he said that, even just trying to get people to watch it. But
his defense, he's like, how could I rape this girl?
There's a bunch of people on set.
Oh, you read that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's saying like, he's like, how would I rape her? Like, there was 20 guys on set. You know, if she was in any distress, I would have got my ass beat. And plus, we cut. Like, you don't understand how, like, what it takes to make a movie. Like, we had to set up the shot, and it took like an hour or something. Like, yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's still kind of dumb because, like, even though that's like they do cut in the actual shot of what gets put out. You can't say like, well, you know, it ends right there, so we didn't even show anything else graphic. But the argument, depending on what his crew was like and like what his ego was like, the argument that someone just immediately would have stopped him, I don't think is true, because he'd be like, I'm doing the scene. I think, especially the stuff that's in the movie, like I don't think it'd be outlandish for him to just pull down his pants and try something and be like, well, we'll just try this shot. But anyway, skipping right to the end of Holy Mountain, how do you like? What's the whole point of breaking the fourth wall there?
See, and
because I didn't get that, and that I feel like that almost like, I don't know if he's just trying to like poke fun at himself. It's like nothing matters so much so that even like this fake journey I took you guys on about these people trying to become gods isn't even like real. You know what I mean? It was just weird. Like, I feel like it almost like diluted what he was doing, though.
Oh, really? Oh.
I don't know. Well, how did you feel when it ended like that?
So the first time I saw it, I probably had the same feelings. Like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was completely left field. I had no idea that was going to happen. And then I was like, why would he do, like, I almost felt the same way. Like, that was, it lessened the movie for me because I was it was so off-putting. Then I digested it and I was like, okay, what is he saying? He's talking about like going back to like like we're going back to reality now. Like, this is just a fantasy. And I think you're right. I think he's poking fun at maybe taking things too seriously. Or maybe like trying to escape within films, trying to find an answer to things within maybe film. But it's kind of funny because like the first time I watched it, I thought I had a clear idea what it was. Like, I could describe it, I could put it in words. And then by the time I watched it with Joey and Cody, I could no longer remember what I like came up with. And now I don't even know like what to think about it. Like, I like it. I think it's like a good. I don't know. I like the ending. It's a troll too. Here we are. This is this whole thing's a movie. I know it's a movie. What does he say? He says something like we're going back to reality.
Something like that. Yeah.
To me, I read it as like, live your life. Don't try to escape. I guess with movies too. Don't find an escape with movies in particular. I mean, I think he's also making a commentary on trying to like not get lost too much in like, because they're trying to be immortal. You know what I mean?
I don't know. It's just weird. Like, I guess it's just kind of pretentious, I guess. But it's more like, because it should have been one way or the other in that the people don't become immortal. really. At least I don't think they do. They walk all the way up there. They see the people at the table, and those are the people they're supposed to defeat or like persuade, right, to join the Holy 8 or 9. And then they get there and they're just dummies, right? And then he's like, "Oh, what is this?" And then he's like, "Put on the robes." So then they put on the robes to the table, and then he just ends it. So like, I guess those in a way go hand in hand if you're gonna break the fourth wall. So like he dispelled like this myth for the characters, and then him as the director again who's playing the alchemist dispelled like the mythos of the film for the viewer. But I still thought it was kind of dumb. Like, I thought at least we should have watched the people become immortal and then him be like, well, you know, like, let's not take this too much stock in this because this is just a movie and this is just, you know. Then you could have kind of juxtaposed the two things. So like, see these silly people. Like, he could even refer to the people without the characters knowing about it. Like, these silly people trying to become immortal, da-da-da-da-da. I mean, I guess in a way you are because you're still watching them, but they don't actually become immortal. That we don't physically, tangibly see them get powers or anything. You know what I mean? It's just they sit at the table and then he ends the movie. And
well,
so that's
isn't it? But it's like the typical, you know, the journey. Like what you learned along the journey is more important than the end result. Like
yes, that's like a trite saying, but they didn't learn anything along the journey. That's the thing, though. Aside from burning money and like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, they definitely suffered, but they weren't like, oh, I'm so glad we did that. Like, definitely, like, I became a better person doing this than like the ultimate goal of what I originally wanted of immortality. You know what I mean?
Well, see, that's where because my thing was.
Because doesn't he tell like he tells the thief to go away before the movie even ends? Like, that was a weird part too. Like, he pulls the thief to the side, and then he's like, "See, this woman's been following you, and like she loves you, and you should just stop trying to be immortal." And I know you've come all this way and went through the snow and like almost dying, but you should just walk away with her and like have a family. And then he walks away, then he sits down at the table, and then he breaks the news to everybody else and like breaks the fourth wall. I thought that was like weird sequence.
It is. I think that's weird too. Like, you're right. It's like, oh, here, you know, well, because maybe it was like, maybe obviously there's no power, so he already know, but he's like, here, there's this person who loves you. This is more important than quote unquote power, you know.
Yeah.
Or immortality.
And I guess he was the last one added, and in essence he was the least bad person, right? Because okay, I guess it is a troll then, because now that I'm thinking about it, all the people that were aspiring to be immortal were all these evil people, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So the alchemist walks all these evil people through all this shit. I mean, not even a whole lot of shit. They burn all their money, they shave their head, and then they like see things and then like walk through the snow, and one guy cuts off his fingers, and then he's just like, "Oh, gotcha," and, you know. And I guess that's why it was just really awkward, like the way he shot it in sequence and the way he shot it. But I guess it makes sense because he was like, "Oh, this is bullshit, dude. Just go with this girl and like have a happy life," and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go troll these guys, and I'll catch you later.
So, what I want to know is, because to me, I interpret it as, yes, it's like all these bad people. Their lesson is to give up their possessions, and then you say they don't learn anything, and like I think they do, but it's through the spiritualness of all the rituals they do. Because, like, I agree. To us, it's just like, yeah, what did they really learn? Like, you know, there was no really hardships besides trying to get there. But, like, I don't know. They didn't, like you said, I don't think they learned anything on a face value. But I think, because he's very into mysticism and tarot cards, and I think there's something there, as someone who doesn't know about that stuff is missing.
I think now that it's just like, as the alchemist, is just a lesson in humbling people. So he targets these high profile people, highly powerful, highly successful, like specifically working with the government and then also making lives for other people worse, and just taking them and like I think the alchemist's hope maybe could actually be to kind of turn them to be more pious and more humble. But either way, he's just going to actually just humble these people. I think that's what it is. I don't think there's necessarily like an end goal hope that he does turn them all great, but regardless, like he made them forsake all their money. Like, cause that's what he's saying is like you're chasing immortality, which as a mortal, it's, you kind of lock in your quote unquote immortality or like untouchableness with how powerful you are, with how much money you have and how much like personal clout you have, basically, right? Mm-hmm. So by targeting these people, making them get rid of all their money, get rid of all of their hair, and then just, you know, take this monastic trek through this mountain, up this mountainside, just to sit at a table together with nothing left to their name except like the clothes on their back, now kind of just punishes them and teaches them that like this was a futile journey to just try to be this immortal being, but it's your fault because you followed me because I promised you I'd make you immortal by doing all this stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
What's a couple scenes that you liked? Let's just talk about the Holy Mountain. And
yeah, so one of my favorite shots was when the thief wakes up in the hall of all of the plaster Jesuses they made him out of. Mm-hmm. I thought that shot was really, really cool. Oh, that was one thing. So again, this is like you kind of get a pass because it's 1973, but the audio situation, the Holy Mountain, like just made me fucking irate.
Really?
Because I tried to watch it at night when everyone was sleeping, and I didn't have it at loud volume. But like, okay, so the very first thing, my like very first like ever thought I think of watching this movie was I was like really worried that it was like there wasn't dialogue in the movie.
Oh, that was my thought too. Yeah,
I got so worried. I was like, God damn it, Nick! And then because like the only thing would be like people laughing,
or talking gibberish to each other.
Yeah. So at the beginning, I was like, oh, they're like talking like Sims, like no real dialogue, all like emoting and laughing and gibberish talk. So that got me worried. And then when there finally was dialogue, I could not fucking hear it. So I'd like turn it up, and then like they would just cut or play music, and it was so blaringly loud. And it was just awful to like siphon between like, you know, it'd be low, there'd be like dog. I'm like, I want to know what they're fucking saying. So I like tick it up, and then someone would just start wailing. And then music would play over it. I'm like, this is like this, like he's just trolling again. It's just fucking like it's ear rape before ear rape was a thing. Yeah.
So you like the Jesus?
Yeah, I that was like one of my favorite shots. Like I get why like people find it influential and like why you liked it so much, because some of those the visuals were really nice. A lot of good colors, like the whatever they are, the 8 people when they do their like profile highlights. But it reminded me of Wes Anderson when he just does those stylized like highlighted characters in their element, you know?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I thought that was really cool.
What did you think about what's his name? It's Altros? Axon.
Axon.
Yeah, when it was doing like when they were killing the I guess they're students, but the protesters. Because like when I saw that, I was like, oh fuck, this is Jimothy, because like all the fruits and stuff. Remember, it's the
it's when they cut to, like, the graves and stuff.
When they cut what?
Like when they cut to the grave sites. He did that in El Topo too. Like when he would like highlight somebody dead, it'd be like with all this food around it. Honeycomb, weirdly, both times he used honeycomb in El Topo and in Holy Mountain.
The scene I'm thinking of, it's Axon's planet, but it's like it's the students. They're protesting, and then they like throw gas at them.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but you're talking about the food part.
Well, just that whole sequence. I don't know. When I saw that, I was like, "Fuck, that's really cool," because that's something that was the original plan with Jimothy. Yeah, it was a food fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I liked all the scenes. Like,
okay, I see what you're saying. When I watched that, I kind of thought of Jimothy too, just some of the stuff, and I liked like the very clean like dribble rundown bursts of like paint he was using for blood. Yeah. It just was very pleasing to see come out, and like, but I liked that it was very clean, and just big oozing dribbled out puddle of that coming out was nicer than like just trying to really fake like there was a ton of blood or something. I thought that was nice.
Do you have any other scenes you want to mention?
Okay, yeah, that's right. You said favorite scenes. Well, so I don't know. The whole thing for me, I am still very impressed with what he was able to show and get done. Again, like knowing his budget, like that still kind of astounds me, because like some of the sets are just really cool, and you know the room that they go in, like the tarot, whatever you want to call it, like spinner room.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Is really cool because like it's an actual thing, and the whole thing's moving, and they had those like, I don't know, plaster models of the people. For like half a second I thought one of the girls was actually like standing up there.
Oh really? Standing up.
I thought the model was like pretty good at a glance. I'm like, why is she just standing up there? Because it's the one that's like in the place with the alchemist.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is she standing up there? And then I realized after they're spinning, I was like, oh, these are just like dummies, or they're like models.
That's props to the model maker or the dummy maker. Right there.
I mean, they were, I don't know, like stuff like that. And that contraption, that artist contraption, the pleasure machine thing, that thing was crazy too. The way it moved.
Yeah.
Like I have no understanding of how that was made. So big, and it would like unfold in weird ways, and like compress and open up in weird ways.
And it grew legs.
Yeah.
I think for that shot, it was because you don't see the top. I think that there's like a crane on top of it that they're lifting up, and the legs fold out. But yeah, like the art, that scene was cool. The one thing I didn't like, just props wise, and maybe this is on purpose, but you know, when they're like in the it's Cell's planet or backstory, and like they're pulling out the paper with the graph on it. It wasn't like, you know, it was just rolled up paper. It wasn't actually, you know what I mean? It was, no machine was actually printing that out.
I caught that too. Yeah, they were just pulling it out from under like the slit in between the machine and the.
For some reason, I mean, it's so minor, but I wish that it was actually mechanized, like just spitting out instead of just knowing like, oh, we're just pulling it, but whatever. That's so minor.
What was your favorite planet?
Favorite planet?
Which one was your favorite planet?
Let's see. I liked Axon's planet. The military one with the food.
Yeah.
And
that guy was funny. His face was really funny, and I liked the dumb like tassel of hair that he had that like streaked behind his head.
You know,
through his like helmet.
Yeah, when he puts the helmet on. Yeah, that's funny. That's what I'm saying. Like, the movie's funny. Like, and intentionally funny. I don't think it's, you know, we're not laughing at something that's not intentional. You know what I mean? The guy's holding a giant fucking gun on his planet. You know what I mean? So, it's... Yeah. I think there's a lot of purposeful comedic things in it. Because I guess Jodorowsky was a mime.
I was going to bring that up. I didn't... Yeah. He like... That was like his main venture, I guess, when he first... He's done a lot of stuff, but yeah, I guess his like primary venture was like miming, and he studied in France to basically be a classically trained mime.
Yeah, I literally just learned that last night.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you that. Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to bring up. Apparently, he did that, and he did some clowning. And what's interesting is did some tours or did some shows and collaborative work with Marcel Marceau, which is, I just watched the movie about it. It's the only reason I know, but he was a French mime and like clown that was like directly responsible for shepherding a bunch of orphan Jewish children to the Swiss Alps so they could flee German Nazi invasion because they were creeping in through France. That's what the movie Resistance is about that you put on Plex.
Oh, wait, was that on Bong's list?
No, but you have it up there. I don't know if you or someone else put it on there, but that's how I watched it.
Oh.
But okay, but back to Holy Mountain. Yeah, I liked some of the set work, and knowing that too though makes sense. Like the whole clowning. I mean, the clowning's more prevalent in El Topo.
I think you're right with Topo.
El Topo.
Are you right? Topo. Yeah. I think you got it.
And it makes sense too because some of the costuming is a little bit like kind of like garish and little like not cabaret but the whatever, it's kind of like that, so you could kind of see that influence and definitely some of like that set design from like playmaking and stuff.
Well, don't they have a whole scene where they're pantomiming to get money? It's with him and his wife, the midget.
Yeah, talking about El Topo now.
Yeah, El Topo. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they do like their little bit to make people laugh and stuff. But I'm saying just him himself being like having that be his like background is kind of interesting, and it makes sense that a lot of the set design was really ornate, at least in Holy Mountain.
Mm-hmm. What was your favorite planet?
I liked the one they opened with. I forget the guy's name. With the masks and the body, I thought that was cool, and like it was the perfect one to start with, but almost like since I thought it was one of the best, it was kind of hard to start with that one and then like get some of the like lesser ones.
Follow up.
Yeah, but it was a good way to transition because it's just so jarring, jumping from like, oh, I'm just watching you do tarot cards and then they're spinning on the wheel, and then now we just jump into this guy's like little biography story. But I thought that one was really interesting, and it was a little bit longer than the other ones because there's a little bit more to show because they actually had a factory and saw him making all the masks and putting it on them and stuff.
Yeah, I liked how he has like 100 wives and he just sleeps with them.
I like that line. He was like, I like have sex with all of my workers and then they get promoted to my secretary.
Yeah.
I was like, jeez.
And he says he only sleeps with them at work.
Yeah.
I also like what did he say? My dad is dumb, deaf, and blind.
Oh yeah.
And whenever he has to like make a decision, he consults his wife's sex.
Yeah, and if it's like moist, then he goes through with the deal. If it's not, then he doesn't. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But yeah, I don't know. It's I didn't hate the movie, and like I said earlier, I see some of the merit of watching this movie, and I do truly feel like there were artists that got inspired from some of the things he saw, because there are a lot of like great visual imagery that is kind of going out throughout the movie. The beginning is rough, but even then, you know, like since the guy like looks like Jesus, and then the kids like tie him up and they try to stone him like Jesus, and then he comes down and like they get him drunk and make plasters of Jesus out of him.
Since you said that was your favorite scene, what's your interpretation of the scene? Why does he get so upset that they made copies of him? Do you think it's...
I don't know. Like, I couldn't tell in the moment if like this isn't everyday thing for him. Do you think like that's like part of the loose like deal they have with each other, or do you think that was the one-time thing?
Oh yeah, well I never thought of that, but I always assumed that it was just a one-time thing. Like they're just really what's the word?
Like they're using him.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of him.
Yeah,
they're taking advantage of. Yes, exactly. And like I like the fact that they're like fat Romans. Like
yeah. That's funny.
Because like the first time I watched it again, I felt like I had a clear understanding. It's like, oh, that's what this meant. And then I completely forgot it. I feel like I lost brain cells. But it's like I can't explain it that well, but I feel like it's using like his image for something sacred, and then also, well, the biggest one is obviously profiteering off of religion. You know, the greedy fat Romans are profiteering, and they're taking advantage of this basically homeless person. But like, I don't understand why he gets so upset. Like, maybe do you think it's like losing his own identity? Like, there's now he's not. Well, he looks like Jesus, but they copied his looks, and he's no longer unique, or I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I don't really. That's why I'm saying, like, I agree. It was kind of a little bit odd that he got upset, and like to the extent that he got upset. That was another one of those moments late at night where I had to turn down the volume multiple times to get through that fucking scene. Which is why I thought, and again, I think it's actually wrong, but which is why I thought in the moment that like he was just pissed, like, which basically I'm saying like sets up the fact that this happens, like maybe not every day, but it happens quite often, you know. He makes his way through town. The guys basically troll him or bribe him into like drinking a bottle. He passes out, and then they run a huge plaster of Jesus out of his body in exchange. And then that's why he woke up and like was pissed, because it's like basically like, oh, it fucking happened again. I got played. Is how I originally took his reaction. But that's I guess probably wrong. But yeah, that just makes his reaction kind of weird, because I mean, it's really haunting. It's kind of scary to see like 100 plastic molds, or be wake up in a room of like thousands of plastic molds of yourself. That is like pretty horrifying.
Yeah.
And you do feel like really, really used, because, you know, it's one thing like if you get taken advantage of, but you're like slightly unaware of it, or like even blissfully unaware because you were passed out, but then to wake up and like see the exact quantification of how much you were used to in that extent is pretty awful too. Okay. And also, just side note, I loved the like piles of potatoes.
Yeah.
I love the fat Romans sleeping together on a pile of potatoes. That was like so Donkey Kong and like so great to me.
Do you think the potatoes are used to make vodka? Isn't that a thing? Potato vodka?
Yeah, you can. Okay. Yeah. So that's possible. I don't know. It's probably not used for the lard, right? Or I mean, sorry, the plaster. They just use lard, right?
Yeah, I have no idea.
But yeah, I don't know what else the potatoes were used for, because it doesn't seem like they were a distillery. Like, that's a good kind of point that they could theoretically make vodka out of those potatoes, but it just seemed like a big vault of potatoes. That's why I said, like, it gave me Donkey Kong vibes. Like, instead of a big vault or a big haul of bananas, it was just potatoes with fat, like, monkey men guarding it. So I really like that one. Obviously, once he climbs up the scary
tower
to the alchemist, there's some cool colors in there. So quick question, did you Joey and Cody watch Holy Mountain before we made It's in the Back? No. Okay.
When did we make It's in the Back?
I don't know, October, is that right?
2016,
17. Right, is that right? Maybe it's 18. It had to have been 18, right? It hasn't been 3 years since we made
it. Maybe it was 18. No, 17.
I don't know. It wasn't like direct or anything, but like when I'm watching, when he punches through the wall, you know, to get to the alchemist.
Oh.
It just like reminded me of the monk scene. Not even really.
Okay, we did watch the Holy Mountain before, because I remember. Well, I know for a fact I watched it in 2016, which is definitely before
we did It's in the Back, yeah.
But I also remember a conversation when we're talking about the monk scene. We're like, we should do like the Holy Mountain like opening where it's just like ooh, like chanting. So yeah,
was that you saying that though, like from you just having seen it, or the other two guys had seen it too?
No, Cody specifically said that. I said, what kind of music should we have? And he's like, we should have like the Holy Mountain chanting. Him or Joey said that.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I was just wondering. It doesn't really.
That's actually we didn't think about that.
But that's why I just wondered, like, it didn't influence it like a ton, but like when I was watching it, that was like a little puzzle piece thing that like I wanted to know just for me.
Gotcha.
Because it could have been something that was like kind of subconsciously pushed around in your guys' heads when you guys were constructing that scene. But I was just curious.
Well, I think remember the fourth wall? We just literally... We're going to have a giant wall that you're going to bust through. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think... Because when you mentioned that... Like, maybe... we probably said something about the Holy Mountain. Maybe about the monk scene. Not even just the music. But I don't think we were trying to do like an homage or nod to the scene. Yeah.
No, I don't think so, but I just wanted to know if that was even like a potential thing that could be in your guys' subconscious when we're doing the scene. Like if you're trying to pull mystic tones, that's more what I'm thinking. Gotcha. Not necessarily like anything was like even close, like a 1-for-1. I just wanted to know.
Well, it's funny when we were doing Animal Fighters, because I already saw the Holy Mountain. When we were talking about it, I told Joey and Cody, I said, I want to play a mole who's either naked or in a diaper. and that was just a Holy Mountain. Yeah, just to be like the little boy or something. I don't know. It's was not what's that?
Was when you said you wanted, this is deep spoilers now, but when you said you wanted to do Spookula in like as a cowboy in a field doing a shootout, was that like a Topo reference? Or like was that in your head?
No, I don't think that was in my head, but that's kind of funny. That's a good... I think I just did a shootout because I wanted to do...
Because you wanted him to get shot a million times and then...
I just thought that was a funny scene. If I'm remembering right, maybe... I don't think so, because we did Jimothy 2014, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I already had plans for the next opening pretty short after, but yeah, I don't think I. But that is funny. We could have dressed him up as the Bandit and El Topo.
So yeah, I'm trying to finish my thought on Holy Mountain, but it was all right. I think it was good to have seen. My mind's still blown at how many fucking animals were in that movie. Like that's the thing I walk away from most, or more so than even the the visuals are really cool. I'm just like, how are there always just different animals being used and being handled too? Like a lot of them were either docile. Like there's a lion in El Topo.
Yeah, and the Holy Mountain too.
There's a lion in Holy Mountain too?
Yeah, at the end when they're walking. They just bring a lion. Remember, they're like this, the way is hard. Or he says the way... This is what confused me about the Holy Mountain, or the ending. Because he says, we just did the hardest part, but our minds are fragile while we're up here. And then they start going, and the thief's like, liar! You guys are liars! And he's like, you stay here, and I'll come back for you and show you the harder way. And I was like, what? What? I'm confused. What is going on? But yeah, then that scene is like, then they have like a fucking tiger out of nowhere leading the way.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. That's what blows my mind the most about those movies, I guess, which I don't know. I don't think that was, I mean, it's part of the shock intent, but I don't think it was the full like spear point of his shock intent. But that's what caught me up the most was the animals, the incessant animals, and the different types and exotic qualities of the animals.
I just think he just was like, let's just get a hippo. Can we get a tiger? Let's get a tiger.
Is that hippo real?
Yeah, that hippo was
real. That was the only one that like I kind of questioned. It kind of looked fake at one angle and the way it was like moving its mouth. Ultimately, I was like, I think it's still real. All the other ones, I was like, yeah, that's just a fucking tiger. That's just a fucking lion. But I don't know. Like, it's probably real, but just that shot that ended up getting used, it's the movements of that hippo seemed a little robotic, and then it doesn't help that they're doing like weird overdub noise for the hippo, so it makes it seem more kind of like artificial. But I think it is a real hippo, and yeah, I was like, there's just a hippo in the little like bird bath jacuzzi. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. I like that, how each room had a different animal. Like, isn't there a peacock in one?
I don't remember a peacock, but there's like tons of stuff, man, and both of them have birds like flying out of girls' hands.
Or like when those guys get shot and the birds fly out of their chest.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
Have you seen The Revenant?
Yeah.
There's a shot from The Revenant that's a homage to that scene where the birds are flying out of the guy's chest.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't like remember anything from The Revenant. I don't know why. It was like a fever dream to
Oh,
me.
really?
Yeah, I don't like. We talked to maybe not you. I talked to somebody about The Revenant, and like my mind was just blank. Like when I tried to think of something of my experience from it, aside from the bear. Like,
Oh, yeah.
that's like all I remember.
Did you probably didn't notice this. I've watched it a bunch of times, but I think I noticed it on the second watch. You know the mirror room?
Yeah,
Like-
and the architect.
No. It's when the alchemist and the thief are doing like the rituals. They like.
Oh yeah.
Did you notice
that
the
was-
camera?
Huh.
Yeah, you could see the camera, but they did it. They knew like. It's just interesting, like seeing the end and then also knowing the camera's there, because like when I saw it the second time, I was like, oh shit, you see the fucking camera? Wow, that's a big fucking.
But it's like
Flop.
quote unquote okay because of the way it ends.
That and his black assistant or whatever apprentice
Yeah.
is the one who's behind the camera. And so I was like,
Oh.
oh that's kind of cool. Like,
Interesting.
yeah, it's like she's,
Do you mean in the mirror shot or at the end?
the mirror shot.
Oh, she's the one holding the camera?
Yeah, she's the one behind the camera. It's on a tripod because there's like
Oh.
two shots you see it in, and you see the you see her behind it. And I was
That is
like,
kind of cool then.
I was like, oh, that's really cool because it's like
that seems purposeful then.
yes. Well, I think what they did was like Jodorowsky's probably like, let's put mirrors up, like let's do this mirror room. And then either they found out or someone noticed and was like, hey, we can see the camera in the shot. And he's like, oh, don't worry, we'll just throw her behind it. And then also, like, because, like, if you see that on a first viewing, you're like, oh, she's behind it. It's like, oh, okay, maybe she's, like, they're doing, like, something, with the camera. But, like, it'd be different if it was just one of the
Actual
crew
crew
guys.
member.
Yeah. But since it's her, you kind of like, oh, okay. Like, it's still weird. But yeah, I just thought that was cool. Because they also, like, there's that scene where he's, like, in front of the projector. And, like, that's a fancy projector stand that they have, What the heck? You know how when he's, like, talking about the 6 mountains? I don't know how many
Yeah.
there were, but he was talking about all the holy mountains. But yeah, I just thought that was a cool little...
That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. So what would you rate the movie? Both of them.
See, that's like I don't know. It's I struggle with that because I just can't like I said, Holy Mountain was more rich isn't the right word, I guess, but it gave me more than I was expecting to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But still, like that make of movie was just I just can't get into the I don't know, it's just too kind of loosey goosey. Nothing matters, but that's kind of the point. But then like anything could be this big symbol for something just big and kind of like broad. The story is not even terrible in Holy Mountain. That's why I feel just so conflicted because if it'd be nicer if the story was a little bit more shit. I could just be like, this is just trash like your mom was. But I know that I can't just be overreactive as that. And I really tried to go into it with an open mind. Like I said, like for both of us, the frog toad explosion part was a big point of contention. I was like, okay, I might like lose my grip here, but going into that, and then even after that, it took a couple minutes to rebound, but I was like, I'm still going to keep an open mind, try to figure out like what is supposed to be going on here with this movie. I guess so. For El Topo, it's a 2, dude. Like it's
2.
I couldn't finish the movie. Like I did, but
you're
I was sitting there on my phone just waiting, and then like I was so overjoyed when the credits started to roll. I will say the very beginning was cool though. The intro credits of like those stitched together like images of him like digging. Was cool. I like that because I'm pretty sure they're just pictures, but they just keep overlapping them like a flip book, so like you basically watch him dig as you just see hands moving or different hand pictures are replaced. But yeah, like that movie was awful. I just didn't like it. Like even like again, I still wouldn't like it, but I could get more on board with like the first half's good, second half's bad. But I just didn't even like the masters thing. Like I like that idea of like walking around in the desert, finding the 4 masters and defeating them. But I felt like the masters were really like subpar and uninteresting, and the way he defeated them were subpar and uninteresting.
Gotcha.
I think like Holy Mountain's like a 3.3 for me, 3.4.
Okay.
It's not. And like I said, I understand some of the merit from it, but it's not something I really want to watch again. But I have respect for what he did with the money that he had and getting all those animals. And I mean, some of this, okay. So the other thing too is not just the animals, but like both movies have so many people in it.
Yeah. Like
I know it's probably like just Mexico and he just offered them to be in the movie for like nothing, but that's not for nothing. It can't be like overlooked too, and I think it's easy to with all the weird stuff going on. But they're just like the scene you keep talking about, the Axon scene. That's a lot of people, and I'm pretty sure those weren't the same people from like other big group shots. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because
they were kids and all that. So and then all the people in all the different factories, and then like just the throng of like disformed people in El Topo. Like it's just a lot of people to get for a movie, and it's not just like a 1-second shot too, or like a big like them running across the field and that's it. They actually have them walking all together and either getting killed or something. So yeah, I mean a lot of commendable things in terms of filming it, and there are some memorable shots for me. It just
wasn't your cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but not even. Again, it could have been worse.
Yeah,
could have been.
No,
worse.
That was my hope. Like, I wasn't expecting you to love it as much, or even like it as much as me. But I was just saying this is worth a watch.
It is worth a watch.
Whether because it's like you can either, even if you hated it, I'd say like there's some interesting aspects about the movie that you would enjoy.
Yeah.
Maybe not as a whole, but you would like some bits and pieces, or it would just be an interesting, experience.
I think the true kind of like power between Jodorowsky's Holy Mountain is it's just a really good like foray into like what's possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think that's what's the most important take, which is I think I mean you like it more for more specific reasons, but I think that's why you think everyone should see it and why you wanted me to see it, because it is a good movie to just see what could be done. You know what I mean? Like in terms of just because he just goes for it. I mean, like there's no other way to put it. You can defend that he had all these ideas and themes and kind of like things he wanted to say with the film, and that's fine. I think some of those things are true, but also he just goes for it with so many things.
Yeah.
In the way he shoots it or in the way he shows it, like if it's going to be a murder, or if it in the like, now we're just like learning about these secret lives of 8 like powerful bureaucrat like people, that apparently live on different planets. So it wasn't enough to just be like, hey, I'm the head of finance. It's like, I have my own planet, and this is my factory. This is what my planet factory produces. And, you know, just playing with all the colors and playing with all the animals and all the different types of people. And that's the other thing too, whether he really, like, what's interesting is whether he tried to force that or not. I mean, I definitely think it was conscious, but there's a lot of kind of like sub theme and allusions, you know, to sex. Well, that's obvious, but I mean like sex and gender gender roles, you know, which is very interesting and very like progressive and pushed for the time. Even in El Topo, you know, I don't know what her deal is, but that like other girl that shows up in the desert.
Oh yeah,
who's wearing all black. Yeah, she's like trying to get with the girl and basically get like telling the girl to leave El Topo for her, you know. And then the girl on Venus, no, I think it's Mars. The girl on Mars, she wakes up in the bed with two other girls.
Oh yeah.
And then, you know, even though I feel like he's using them pretty blatantly just as like shock value and carnival and like spectacle, but you know, both movies do have people without limbs or missing limbs, and again, I think that's more kind of spectacle, but at least like they are on screen, and hopefully they got like paid some modicum of money to be in the film. So that's interesting too, that there is like kind of quote unquote representation. And you see them like the guy is freaking lighting a lighter and rolling a cigarette with his toes. Like it's you know, it's interesting to put that on the screen and have us see that and think about that. And so I think, yeah, there's just a lot of themes tackled and a lot of things explored. So then once you see that, it's either to be like, okay, now I can go make my own thing and feel more like unrestricted in what I want to do. Because there's someone out there that released a movie and really went for it. So I think that's the true like actual importance of the movie, not necessarily the movie itself, but I think just like that ethos of just like he just fucking
he just went for it.
And then once you see that and you know that you can go for it too, then there's some more like at least mental barriers on your creativity or on your like, or even if it's just like things you actually want to do but you're scared that it's just not the right time or you don't know how to do it. Now you can kind of see someone and maybe like pinch off of that or like find a blueprint in some ways for some things, you know. I think that's the true importance of El Topo or of Holy Mountain, and I can respect that.
Would you recommend it for everyone?
Well, so it's funny because like, I mean, I know a lot of people would struggle, but like you said, it sometimes it's just good to have that wall to push through, you know, because yeah, even if you didn't hate it, you know, it didn't kill me and it was only 2 hours. So it's like, I don't feel like I wasted a lot. El Topo, I felt like I wasted a lot of time, but Holy Mountain, I didn't. But once you do see that, you feel like more barriers have come down for your personal viewing. So then you're ready for more stuff. I mean, it'd be interesting. Maybe at some point we could build like you know, people have their like Mount Rushmores for certain things, which basically just mean like, what are your all-time representatives for whatever the category is? And it's a very super niche, small category, but I think Jodorowsky gets his own monument for just that type. You know, you got to see this film. Yeah. You got to see Psycho. You got to see da-da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? You got to see Godfather or whatever. I think it gets its own little pillar if you want to really take the true breadth of film and genres and like what's possible. I think it makes it up there. Now, is it the most palatable one on the list? No, but I think there definitely is something to be gained just from taking that venture, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So more positive than you were expecting, right?
Yeah. No, actually, I was worried. I was like, God, he's gonna hate it. He's gonna hate it. But I knew you couldn't say you would hate. I knew you would like some aspects. Obviously, I didn't know exactly which ones, but it's like there's so many interesting. Like just it's like, oh, maybe he'd like just how pretty it looked. You know what I mean? Or maybe he'd like some of the political or religious messages. Or maybe he would think it's so fucking weird that, you know, it intrigues you on it, just how weird it is.
Yeah.
So I knew there's something, but yeah, my fear was like, I thought you're gonna text me because I told you. I said if you fucking hate the Holy Mountain, let me know, because you're not gonna like El Topo.
Yeah, I almost actually texted you last night because
Really?
I finished El Topo last night, and I was gonna be like, that one was not worth to go. But I was like, no, I'm gonna save it. We're gonna talk tomorrow, and like I don't even want to be negative. But I don't know. Like I tried. I tried.
Oh well, yeah. I'm glad you tried. I'm glad you watched them both.
It's just the record just scratches so hard after he gets shot. I
agree. That's the
shitty
thing is you didn't even like. Well, I shouldn't say you didn't like the first half. You just didn't.
But
you weren't as interested as, because I think I liked the first half. Like I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
And then I'm 100% in agreement with you. The second half is just, it's basically what, Gomorrah, the city of Gomorrah, right? Or is it Sodom?
I don't know.
Oh, it's a religious. I forget which one it is. Yeah, it's the city of sin. I think it's Sodom. I think Gomorrah is also a city of sin, but that's where that's the city of turning. The guy turns around to look at his wife, and she turns to like salt. Or she turns around. Basically, God tells them like, you need to run. They're angels, and they're like, if you look back, your wife, you'll like turn to a pillar of salt. Which is is
that what like formed the salt mines in the history? Is that what happened or no?
The salt mines
because aren't there like salt mines? I mean, I know that's also in Utah, but I thought there was like some other like biblical reference to salt mines, and maybe that was when it was formed. I don't know.
Oh, maybe, because I think God was purging the city, so maybe he was turning it to salt. All I know is that I think they're going to get. Actually, I don't know. I was going to say, I think basically like 3 angels go to this guy's house, and they're about to get raped or something. And so God tells them, all I know is God tells them to leave, and as they're leaving, or he says, do not look back no matter what. And then I think either the guy turns around, which I think that's actually a Greek myth I'm thinking of. I think the girl turns around. The girl turns around, and then she turns to salt. Anyways, that's that.
So is that what that's supposed to be then? That like that saloon town is supposed to be like the metaphorical city of sin then?
That's my interpretation.
Makes kind of sense. They kind of have like a toothless and useless murderer for like a sheriff, and then they have that like underground sex hooker room, and people like clap when people get shot.
And then the I like the what is it, the scene where they're in the church and the guy pulls out the gun and they all start playing Russian roulette. And the kid's like, my turn.
Yeah. That was a good scene. I liked that. And yeah, you could tell like the priest was like, all right, let's put it away now. And the other kid comes and
was he sweating like after he did it, and then everyone started doing it? They're like, oh.
Yeah,
and
miracle. I was like, oh.
Did you watch it in Spanish with subtitles?
I just watched it however you had it on Plex. I didn't know if there was another version, but yeah, they were speaking Spanish and I got subtitles.
Okay, good.
Which was the only thing I liked more about El Topo than Holy Mountain, because I could actually see what they were saying without the volume being ridiculous.
I could show you how to put subtitles on. Do you know how to?
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. To be like, I know how to put subtitles on, but to be honest, like I said, like a quarter through the movie, I thought it was just gonna be like a lot of like laughing and like miming.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't need subtitles. But then there were just some moments like when I was trying to follow the story, where they were talking, but it was just so low, and then I was just being lazy. I didn't put the subtitles on, and then I would just turn up the volume and turn down the volume.
We did.
I don't know, like I like subtitles, but I was trying to take the movie into, and I didn't want to like read, which sounds dumber than what I'm trying to say, but like I wanted to like take it in fully, instead of like focusing on like actual words, especially since knowing that movie, like not necessarily all of the dialogue and words are as important as what's like thematically is going on. Or
no, I have the same thing. Like, I'm not gonna say. I mean, I watch foreign films, but I prefer watching a movie like without subtitles because I feel
it
takes away from the experience.
It's detracting. I mean, I know people prefer it more, because you miss less. That's true, I guess, like in dialogue. But then I would argue you still miss stuff on the screen because you can't just keep looking down at the bottom, like 20% of the screen to read, and not miss stuff that's going on right, above you on the actual screen. Nothing against it. It's just
Yeah,
I given the choice, I'm just, at least for first time viewing, I think almost like it seems better to just first time view it if it's optional. Obviously, we're talking foreign films, and subtitles. But if it's, I think it's better to just watch it without subtitles, take it in, and then if you end up watching a second time, then watch it subtitles. You can catch more stuff that you miss, but then it's more relevant because you have the context of like how things go, character arcs, yada yada, how the movie ends, So certain things said or referenced to is more important than like when you're going through it more flat-footed or blind, I guess.
Yeah.
But
any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. That guy's just really interesting because I was reading he like made all these comic books.
Yep, he made. So I was actually gonna. This isn't my recommendation, like for our little weekly things, but if you want to learn more about like his failed project, because he was gonna make Dune.
Because he was gonna do Dune. Yeah.
You should watch the documentary Jodorowsky's Dune, and that's actually I watched that first. That was the first thing I watched.
Interesting.
And I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then I watched The Holy Mountain and El Topo. Because
did you hear how like his biography about his failed attempt to make Dune was playing like at the same time another one of his movies was playing at like some film festival?
Was it like...
I think it's the one with it references like The Heart or something. You know what I'm talking about?
Heart.
It's called like...
There's The Dance of Reality.
Oh, I think it's that one.
Okay.
Nothing to do with Heart.
Because, I mean, like, I'm going to... There's two movies. I'm going to watch... There's actually a lot more movies that I didn't even realize he made, but I'm going to eventually watch them. There's The Dance of Reality, which stars... Well, you probably know this, too, because you... maybe you looked it up, but the boy in El Topo is his son.
Is his son, yeah. So that's my final thought for El Topo. The whole time I was watching it, or the beginning, I was like, this kid is getting so sunburnt every time they're shooting this. I'm like, his little dick is getting sunburnt.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for this kid. Like, less so that like, oh, he's naked, that's terrible. It's just like he's naked in the sun in the desert. Like, it's just he's just getting sunburnt all day, and he's so pale.
It's arguably child abuse.
Arguably, yeah, because depending on how many times they shot it, I mean, think about how many times he just had to aimlessly walk and follow his dad in the sun just to get those shots, and then he's riding naked on a bareback on a horse. And but what were you saying about?
So I was just saying So there's The Dance of Reality, and then Endless Poetry. Those two movies are about his life. So The Dance of Reality stars his grandson, and it's about him as a little boy. And then Endless Poetry, I guess, is him as a young adult, and it stars his son. And so I don't know, I think that's kind of interesting, having his, like... Well, one, he kind of forced his children to act in El Topo. Like, the kid's, I don't know, 8 maybe? Like, maybe even younger. And it's just like, I'm your father, you're going to do my project, basically, And then, like, if you watch the Dune documentary, he, like, was having his son train martial arts to be the main character for Dune. He was going to be the son.
So basically, Jodorowsky was like a failed Will Smith.
Yeah. Again, I'm not saying these aren't my recommendations, but if you want to watch them on your own, I do recommend Jodorowsky's Dune. It was very interesting. It actually, The Holy Mountain has been a movie that's been like surrounding me since I was like in 8th grade. I know that's kind of weird, but when I was like in 8th grade, one of my favorite artists, his name is Nathaniel Milburn, he said that was his favorite movie, The Holy Mountain. And like it was kind of like, I don't know why I just didn't download it, but for some reason it was like this big hype machine from there.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, my favorite artist loves this. Like, and I had like, it's weird. Like this movie, I thought this movie was going to be one thing, and then it completely was something else. And it was better for that. I'm glad it wasn't what I thought. And like, I'm glad it was something I would never, ever conceive.
Do you think it was going to be more of like a trippy
yes.
kind of? That's kind of how I thought too. With like, yeah,
like trippy. I mean, there is trippy visuals, like the sets, or you could say are trippy. But I thought it was more,
but not like stereotypical, like druggy, trippy. That's the difference. Yeah.
Yes, I thought it was going to be more stereotypical acid trip visuals.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie it's had a history with me. Because, like, I don't know, I thought The Holy Mountain, all I know is, like, I had this image of it. I only saw the poster. And, like, I just thought it was going to be this thing, this weird, it was weird, but nothing that I predicted.
But yeah, that was the other, I guess that's my last takeaway, is, like, it was, grounded's not the word, but it was a little bit more, like, had a little bit more kind of direction and purpose in some ways than I was expecting it to.
Well, I thought, I mean, speaking of drugs, like, we didn't really even talk about the Pantheon bar, but that's actually one of my favorite scenes. Well, just like, I don't know, all of the little guests they introduce are funny, and like the fact that it's like this, it's like you see the outside, and it's like a shitty, like, I don't even know how to describe it, like a shitty shack for like seafood. Yeah, and like they go in it, and it's a fucking graveyard. And it's just people partying on dead people. And then it's like, the first guy's talking about, what is he talking about? Something about poetry. And he's like, tells how like something sweet, and as the flies come up. Or I like the second and the third guy. I
like the guy who was like, you want to see me go through that?
Yeah, I could go through the Holy Mountain horizontally.
Yeah.
I've conquered the Holy Mountain horizontally.
Yeah,
that guy's my favorite. Because they're like, well, what about the top? It's like, oh, who cares about the top? I went through I went through it. That's all that matters. Yeah. And then like the drug guy too, his face. I just like that. I like that he nods that because he's even saying like drugs. Because that scene is about, hey, stay here, like. Take LSD, take mushrooms, take mescaline, you don't need the Holy Mountain. Like, we have all the secrets of life right here. And, like, even though Jodorowsky, I don't know if you read this, but all the actors did, like, a week, like, getaway, and they did acid in a cabin.
I heard that was, like, he had some guy, and that wasn't his mentor, but he kept encouraging him to take acid to, like, either write the movie, make the movie, or like to prep to make the movie.
But I just think that's like so funny because it's like, because I mean he's even saying like this isn't the key, to the goal. This isn't the destination. Like,
but a lot of people get hung up. Even coming this close, a lot of people get hung up on that little sidebar thing.
It's like, it's. There's more to it than just taking drugs and feeling like you've unlocked all the secrets of the world. I mean, you can definitely have eye-opening experiences doing, LSD, DMT and stuff, but it's you don't want to get lost in that and just fixate on it.
It's a little bit like satire, but I think it's more just like making fun of that type of person.
Yes.
The shallowness. Like you said, there's the guy who's like, I think he says he wanted to kill himself or something. The poetry reader guy.
Oh, really?
Like, I think so, but maybe I was wrong. But it's something like, he's just like being this fatalistic, but I'm artistic, and that's what gives me my like inner, my pain basically gives me my craft. That's kind of like if you had to bottle that guy. I think That's the experience. And then you get the guy who's just like dense, right? Like he's just like, or he thinks he's just got it. Like the way he's got it is the way that only way that matters, you know? So then that very shallow thinking too. Cause yeah, they're like, well, that's not the point. Well, I can do it this way. So, and I'm content with it, you know? And then you got the guy who's just blatant like, well, I just take a million drugs and I'm just chilling here and I'm good with that. So I think that's him. Yeah. Pointing fun at, because with all that mysticism stuff, you know, but then it still feels like he'll have like little, you know, obvious religious nods and stuff. And it's just kind of there. Like sometimes I don't even really feel like he's making fun of anything or like even like making a point with it. It's just part of his like thematics. But then, you know, at the end of the day, he's into like being a shaman and he's like one of his labels was like psycho shamanism or something that he's into.
Oh, yeah. He actually has a documentary called Psycho Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what even are you, dude? And he like, yeah, he like got credited for all the music on the fucking thing because I guess he made a lot of the music for the movies.
I didn't know that.
That's cool. he's like written, directed, starred, and then did the music and like did the costuming too. He's on like 3 people.
Oh, you're right.
The costuming, and he did he's on there, and 2 other people, I think.
That's cool.
So like, yeah, like the guy's a fucking crazy weirdo, but he got a lot of stuff accomplished, you know. Because the music's pretty good too. Like he must be kind of serious and be able to play some instruments because they're like arrangements on those movies. Because when I saw that in the opening credits, it's like, okay, yeah, he gets credit for the music. Like really, I was like, okay, like yeah, what's next? What else did you do? But in the brief reading I did, I guess he can play music and did a lot of the music himself to put on the movie. So.
That's Joey, dude. We need to make him make his own holy mountain.
Yeah, the lion was his baby holy mountain. It kind of was, though. I think that wraps it up on my watches. Do you wanna switch recommendations now?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. Well, I have one more thing.
Okay.
Did you read about how he like I don't remember exactly what it was, but he got screwed really bad on that. Like basically. He entered into some deal, and I forget how it broke badly. He either tried to back out of or something, and then they basically told him like, because it was like getting money. I think it was like he got. I'm explaining it poorly, but basically that's what like prevented the release of the Holy Mountain and El Topo for like decades.
Really?
In the States, yeah. Like they said it didn't come printed until like 2006 here or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because again with John Lennon, he like gave him money, but then I guess he also put him onto this agent or some publicist guy to like work with him, and then I think that guy like gave him a shitty deal, and then he basically threatened like you have to sign this deal and get like sign over your rights or something, or else you're gonna lose your material forever. And Jodorowsky basically just said like, fuck you, I'm gonna release it anyway. And then I guess they went into this big lawsuit spat for like years, which basically, even though it didn't get settled, it just froze his like ability to like mark or like release his movie in the States for purchase. Obviously it had come out already, but and then I guess it didn't come out and again until like way later after the thing finally kind of got settled and forgotten about.
I wonder, bits and pieces of that sounds familiar because like again in the Dune documentary they talk about how he gets fucked over for Dune, and like all I know is that he basically he was so passionate about making Dune, and this movie like. I mean, I'm like looking at the Holy Mountain, and I'm like, how would this guy make Dune? Like,
yeah,
I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm like, and I like talked to Joey about this, but in Dune, they're saying, or in the documentary, they say like, yeah, this would have came out before Star Wars, and this would have been the Star Wars thing, like, and I was just like, no, like Star Wars, like. I'm not saying I just know Jodorowsky and just like people could have been a fucking great movie, but it's not Star Wars like accessible to the mass audience. You know?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't have the reach.
No. And so I was just like, stop saying this. You can't say that. Like I don't know. I don't like that. Like, this would have been the Star Wars.
That's the point of documentaries, though. You have to have a...
Yeah, but...
That's their like take on it. They want people to go home and be like, Jodorowsky's entire career in life got robbed because he could have had Star Wars and all these amusement parks and record deals. Like, yeah, right, dude. This guy would not...
No.
Your children could come to the Jodorowsky theme park only if they're butt-ass naked and paint their little dicks green, okay? Like, no, it's not happening.
No, honestly, it would have been a huge flop. They would have spent so much.
Well, that's why they backed out. Yeah, they cited, again, in my brief Wikipedia reading, but they cited that he just kept asking for more money and like more and more for the like intricate things he wanted to do, and the more and more like crazy out there things he wanted to do. And they're just like, no, we don't see the return on this because like some of it is just outlandish, and also like the money you want to do this, you know, because you can only imagine when a guy is on his own budget and filming in Mexico and he still has like half the endangered species list in his movie. You can only imagine what it's gonna be like when he actually has like some actual money from a production company behind him. You know what I mean? He's gonna shoot for the moon.
Yeah,
in a bad way.
I don't know if you read this in the documentary. They talk about it, but they were going to have Salvador Dali in the movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He wanted to cast him, yeah.
The way, like, because he went up to Salvador Dali, he's like, look, I think you'd be perfect for this spot, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, all right, I'll do it for $1 million per hour. Yeah. And then he's like, okay, we'll do that. And then he, like, went up to his, like, Jodorowsky went up to his agent, and he's like, $1 million an hour? What? That's crazy. He's like, look, he's only going to be in the movie for 2 minutes. so I thought that was like, oh, that's so funny, that's hilarious. And there was like another guy where they like bought him like a year's supply of his favorite wine or something. It was, I don't know, it sounded like it would have been something, because there was like 4 planets or 3 planets or whatchamacallit, groups of people, and each one of them were going to have their own rock band composing for them. So you had like Pink Floyd for this one planet, and I forget the other 2 bands, but they're big. And it was like, that was their theme. It was like, if you're on this planet, it's Pink Floyd playing. If you're on this other planet, it's this band playing. And like going back to Salvador Dali, he wanted he's like, I want a giraffe in my scene. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, all right, give him he can have a giraffe. Like,
yeah, that seems like the most dangerous cocktail. Like Salvador Dali and Jodorowsky in a room together trying to make art with the production company's wallet. But yeah, I didn't know about the 2-minute thing, but I read that like he requested $100 or $1 million an hour, and Jodorowsky agreed to it. Yeah. Like, Jesus Christ, dude, come on, man.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my god. I thought, because they're making it sound like, yeah, he was gonna get the $100 million an hour, because I think Jodorowsky said, I want to be the highest paid actor ever. Or Dolly said that. I don't know if I said Jodorowsky, but yeah. But yeah, anyways, recommendations?
Yeah.
Okay, so you inspired me with your pick.
Okay.
I'm doing, again, a theme.
Okay, I'm doing a theme too, but mine.
It's the Nick Cage double feature. But they're good movies. They're good movies.
You just don't want me to have a good time, dude.
No, you're gonna like. Okay. No, you're. Yeah. I will recommend this. Okay.
This works because like I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm gonna let you go, but I picked an actor double feature too for you. Okay. So that's cool.
I'm not torturing you. I swear. I would not recommend you a movie that I personally did not enjoy.
Oh, it's so funny. Is it Wicker Man?
No, it's not Wicker Man. God, no.
Okay.
These are good movies. This is the first one I recommend you watching first. Is Adaptation. Have you seen that one?
Did that come out like a couple years ago?
It came out in the 2000s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I talked to you about it. It's a Charlie Kaufman, Spike Jonze movie.
Yeah, I remember you talking to me about it a little bit.
And this is, again, like, I don't know. I loved Charlie Kaufman. This is one of my favorite movies of his, actually. All his movies, I think I love. And it's very hard to pick one, but this is like top 2. It's like Synecdoche, Anomalisa, and Adaption.
I was gonna say, is it beat Anomalisa?
Yeah, it's like a toss up. All 3 of those movies could. I know I said top 2, but they're all fighting for the top 2.
I feel like I need to, like, one Saturday I need to, like, watch Synecdoche at like 3 p.m.
Why 3? So you're a little.
So
drowsy?
I'm just like I'm just like together. It's
3 p.m. I think they said
3 p.m. not 3.
Okay.
No, like I want to be like feel like I have the whole day ahead of me. I could just root down the living room and like be like conscious and like my brain firing at its highest peak and like watch that movie again. Because I enjoyed it the first time around, but there's just so much going on and it's so much like layering or so much Inception layering, and that it's like, wait, who's on first base again? That I just need, because I think I watched it like late at night, and
yeah, I got you. This one's not as hard to follow. This is okay. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's not.
Yeah, don't tell me anything.
It's not Synecdoche level of like following the plot and what's going on, or like just keeping track of the characters and certain details. But yes, so Adaptation. Watch that one first.
Okay.
And then my second Nick Cage film is Mandy. This is a horror. So this is kind of bleeding in with the Holy Mountain. It's like a trippy movie, but it's like a horror revenge movie kind of thing. Starring Nick Cage. And so my predictions.
Okay.
I think you're gonna like Adaptation. Okay. Or at least I'm hoping you like that one. And then the reason why I picked Mandy is that one's like a toss up. I don't know if it's your type of movie, but I think it's another good. It's not absurd, but it's very visually pleasing as well, and the soundtrack's good.
Okay.
But yeah, those 2 movies are my recommendation. Can I guess the actor? Is it?
Yeah, go for it.
Brad Pitt.
No, it's not Brad Pitt.
Okay, I give up.
It's someone that you've watched recently, though.
Oh.
If you want to guess one more time.
Colin Farrell?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you seen In Bruges?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay. Well, have you seen The Sacred Killing of Deer?
Yes, I have.
Oh, well then neither of my picks work then. What did you think? Okay, well we could talk about that separately then. Now I got to think of 2 other movies. I think sick. I got your movie pair. Same Turkish director.
Okay.
I saw that you or somebody put In the Fade on Plex. Did you watch it?
In the Fade? No.
Yeah. Watch Head On. That's the English translation. And then In the Fade second, just because Head On came out a lot earlier. And then,
do you know what year?
It's 2004.
Oh, I see it. Head On. It's Genjin Daiwand.
No, Gegen die Wand. Yeah, it means against the wall. But yeah, that's why I was like, I remember the German title, and I was trying to remember the American translation.
So which one do I watch first? Head On or?
Yeah, Gegen die Wand, Head On. I'd watch that first just so you can avoid the, this one's not as shiny as the other one bias.
I don't want to read. I don't want any of the spoilers.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll do the double feature. I mean, like, I don't know. For mine, I don't have really much to say. I did enjoy In the Fade. Like I said, I don't remember Head On as much. Hopefully you like them, but I just picked them because I knew you probably hadn't seen them.
Yeah, I've never heard of them.
And then it's a good little change, I guess, because you get a Turkish director, kind of fits the bill. So yeah, he straddles this interesting kind of like dynamic where he's Turkish, but I mean he speaks German. Everyone's speaking German in his films, and a lot of his films try to like talk about that kind of that divide, I guess, of Turks living in Germany, or like being German technically, but also being Turkish and all that.
Interesting.
So I don't know.
Anyways,
It's yeah. All right. Love you, man.
all right. Love you too. Good night.
Night.
Thank you so much for listening. Trust me, I know in the world there are a ton of hot takes, a ton of opinions, and a ton of other podcasts. But Nick and I firmly believe it's always good to have one more take.